Some people are joining. 8 people. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm very excited for this. I got 10 minutes early to make sure everything works perfectly fine. So let's wait a bit for more people to join. And it's going to be awesome today. I have a great live plan for you. Hi, Carmen. Thank you for joining. Hello. I also brought some of the ingredients here. We can look later on. Hello. I got 10 minutes early, so let's wait a bit for more people to come before we start. I'm very excited for this. I'm making one of your soap recipes while watching your live. Fantastic. Which one? Let me know which one are you making. Hi from Mexico. Hola. The one you are holding. That's so great. So great. Are you actually making it with green oxide like that so that it's completely green? Yeah, that's a coincidence. Yes, what? Wow. Yeah, it's an amazing soap, this one. Hello from Southern California. Hey, wow. Perfect. Looking forward to hearing how it went. Of course, when you're working with green oxides and other colorants like micas, you need to dissolve first your oxides or your micas in a bit of water before you add them to your soap butter because otherwise it might create some clumps. And so, but I guess you know that already. Hello from Poland. Hello. And thank you for being here. Hello from the Netherlands. Hi, Violetta. Thank you for being here. Where in the Netherlands are you watching this from? I know I'm asking because I've been to the Netherlands many, many times. I have family there. So I've basically been everywhere in the Netherlands. Not everywhere, but in at least all the major cities. Great. More people are joining. Very excited for this. Let's wait 5 more minutes because I got in a bit earlier. Let's wait for 5 more minutes for people to join. Near De Helder in a villa. Okay. I don't know. Actually, I haven't been there. So I guess you can see this is one that I haven't been. So we have people from all over the world: California, Mexico, Poland, Netherlands. That's amazing. I have some very exciting stuff for you guys today. I'm always very happy to do those live. South Africa. That's amazing. I'm very excited to do those lives because every time we interact together through comments and through emails and through messages, but doing the live is more fun, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. So we have one person who is making the green oxide soap. What about the rest? What's the last soap you've made, actually? Write in the comments below which one is the last soap you've made, whatever it is, or other skincare products. Because as you have seen, I not only talk about soap making, I like to talk about other skincare products as well, like hand creams, lip balms, deodorants, and so on. And as we will see later, those are quite unique because You have to treat them completely different than soap making. Soap making involves lye, sodium hydroxide, and that means that you have something that you have a chemical reaction that converts your oils into something else. While in lip balms, deodorants, and so on, you don't have a chemical reaction. You don't have sodium hydroxide. So there you have to treat things a bit different. Greetings from Trinidad. It's a bit rainy in the Sunshine Isle. Oh, nice. Hello from South Africa. Turmeric soap. You're making turmeric soap. You know, I have turmeric soap here. Turmeric is an amazing ingredient. It's both an exfoliant and it's a great colorant, actually. It's a very stable colorant. Natural colorants, some of them, they tend to fade with time. They tend to basically not be very stable, especially if you have them next to light, next to sunlight. They tend to fade away. But turmeric, I found that is quite stable as a natural colorant. And the most stable natural colorant I've worked with is charcoal. Absolutely. It lasts forever. I'm just in awe because you're sharing your knowledge. I'm so grateful. I just started making songs like a month ago about your book and some others, but yours is just easy, yet it's a lot of science. Well, I'm very grateful to hear that. I'm very grateful that you found the ebook helpful. And today, actually, we're gonna make science easy. Trust me. We're gonna talk about things that you would think normally that you need a science degree, that you need a chemistry degree to understand it. But trust me, it will all make sense. It will be very, very simple to understand. So we're gonna answer all of your science questions, and we're gonna make them very, very easy to understand. Look, I have some ingredients here that we're gonna get into. Michaela. Hi from Czechia. Wow, amazing country. Write down in the comments before we start. Before we start, we are almost there to start. We will start in 3 minutes. Before we start, write down which one is your favorite scent. Your favorite scent to work with, not only to work with, but to wash with as well. Because of you, I started to learn more in depth, if and about soap formulation. I'm very grateful for that because my whole aim is not for you to just copy recipes, but to also understand formulation and design your own recipes from scratch. Because when I started soap making, I was actually copying a lot of recipes without understanding anything. I was like, what why do I add olive oil? Why do I add this amount of sodium hydroxide? Why do I mix the way I mix? What's gel phase? I was just following recipes. And then when I started understanding the science, the formulation, the why behind things, I could actually feel confident to design my own recipes, to tweak the ratios, and to just try things that I had in my mind. And that's the great thing about formulation. I like the pine scent. Yes, I love pine too. And if you combine pine with something floral, great things happen. Please try. Try to combine pine with a floral aspect, like ylang ylang, jasmine. It's phenomenal, the result. I think you're such a cool teacher, filled with vast, easy to understand knowledge. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Greetings from Toronto. Wow, what a great um, community we have here. People from all over the world. I'm very excited for this. Okay, almost ready to start. Let's wait 2 more minutes because the initial time was 5 o'clock Central European time. Uh, so let's wait a bit more. What time is it in your country right now? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? I guess if you're from Toronto and California, it's probably gonna be morning. My neem soap is a favorite with my friends. Oh, that sounds so cool. Soap makers unite. Let's go. 10:58 a.m. Thank you guys for being here. I was born in Philippines but been living in Florida, USA for 20 years. It's 10:58. Oh, so two people. We have Elizabeth and one more that actually they probably live in the exact same area or close by because they both have the exact same time. More, it's morning here in Texas. Nice, cool. Let's start then. So please thumbs up. You can see my um, my presentation in the background. Just do a thumbs up. 5 p.m. here in South Africa. It's 5 p.m. here in Denmark. But I guess you're 5 p.m. one day ahead, like the 12th of June. Here it's the 11th of June. Great. We are on. So 27 people. You see, guys, it's actually right when it went 5 o'clock, 10 people joined. So it's good that we waited a bit. Welcome everyone for the new people who are joining here. Welcome. We are ready to start. I love Denmark. Yes, I love it too. Cool. Let's go ahead. So we're gonna start first by pain points. And I'm very I always start whatever I do, whether I do soap making, whether I'm in my full-time job, I always start by looking at the biggest challenges, the biggest struggles that people have. So I ask myself, what are the biggest soap making problems that keep you up at night? And the way I found the answer to this question is that I've been interacting with you for the past months through email, through comments, through chat, through my physical workshops that I do. And I've been gathering a lot of data. And I usually get these answers that you see here on the screen, like those three answers. And those are the most common pain points that we have in soap making. First of all is oil selection overwhelm. Basically, this is perhaps the most common one. It's when people have so many options of oils and soap making ingredients that they don't know where to start and they end up buying all of them. They buy oils that might be quite expensive and they might not be very good for soap making. You all know what I mean, like grapeseed oil. We're going to talk about this in a moment. And I recently received a text from someone saying that he actually spent $1,500, $1,500 on oils. So he started like a month ago, and he spent $1,500 on oils because he didn't know what to buy, and he told me that he probably wasted a lot of money. So we're going to talk about this in a moment. And so this is the first pain point: oil selection overwhelm. When you don't know what to buy. The second one is everything around scent. One of the biggest pain points around scent is that you make a soap that smells amazing the first day, and after basically 3 weeks, the scent has completely disappeared. And raise your hand, please, guys. Raise your hand if this has happened to you. Raise your hand if you made a soap, if you spend money on an essential oil that is expensive, and then you were so excited about it. 3, 4 weeks later, the soap doesn't smell as much. Please write in the comments if this has happened to you. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining. Really good to see you here. Yes, with citrus. Oh, citrus is one of the essential oils that is really good at fading out. But we will talk about ways how to make it more long lasting. Okay, so this is a very common pain point, scent that fades. But this is not the only pain point people have with scent. It's not only that the scent fades, it's also what essential oils to use, what fragrance oils to use if you want to use fragrance oils, and what's the difference between essential oils and fragrance oils. And most importantly, how do you add the essential oils or the fragrance oils without trace acceleration? Trace acceleration is when your soap butter thickens so fast that you don't have time to pour it into the mold. And trust me, if you're new to soap making or if you have been making soap for a while, this is something that can happen to everyone. And there is a way to deal with that eventually. Number three pain point is additives and troubleshooting. So this has to do with other additives like honey, milks, juices, stuff that can accelerate trace, stuff that can overheat your soap bottle. And a lot of troubleshooting. This is quite general, but troubleshooting, a lot of things can go wrong in soap making. So, of course, um, troubleshooting covers a lot of different things. So, those are the biggest pain points that I have found out that people have in soap making. And all of this I found out because of you, because I talk with you, because I look at the comments, the emails, and I literally try to reply to every single comment that you guys make on YouTube. And it's really helpful for me because I can gather data, I can see what are your biggest challenges, and I also learn a lot from you. Just to give you an example, I posted a video yesterday about where I analyzed one of the most expensive soaps in the world, the Klaus Porto soap. And one of you told me that the triple milling process that they use in that soap actually removes glycerin. So that soap is not as moisturizing as I would expect. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that glycerin is removed during that process because as you know, glycerin, we will see that later, is a byproduct of saponification. Let's move on. So we started with the pain points. Now let's go a bit to my story because perhaps a lot of you don't are new here and you don't know a lot about me. So we just spent 30 seconds talking about me and my story with soap making. So my story started back in 2013. I was 18 years old. I was a chemical engineering freshman in university. I looked something like that. And actually, the way I got very interested in soap making was not through a soap. I was actually the type of teenager who would wash with a all-in-one shampoo, conditioner, soap, Bishop, whatever, I don't remember. It was, one of those things, the all-in-one things that you would use for everything. That's what I used back then. But then when I got into university, I saw the saponification reaction for the first time. I had an organic chemistry course, and we saw the saponification reaction, and I found it so fascinating. And that's when I started being interested in soap making, not from an actual soap, but from the saponification reaction. And then basically, I found a soap that belonged to my family for years that was made with the traditional way of making olive oil soaps back then, which was using lye from wood ash. And there really started to get into soap making. So it was a combination of chemistry and a soap that I found in my family. I guess I'm late, but excited to be here. Your videos are helpful. I refer to your videos before I start a new batch. Oh, thank you so much. I'm very grateful to hear that. Feel free to write in the comments what inspired you to start soap making, just like I shared right now. I would love to know. Cool. I will read your comments along the way. So, just a bit of a history here, how it all started, how it all began. Everything began, legend has it, in ancient Babylon, uh, 2,800 years before Christ. And what they figured out is that what happens is that when they mixed animal fat with wood ash, they would get something that bubbles. And what happens here is that wood ash originally contains potassium hydroxide when mixed with water. So that's basically the first way, the oldest way of making soap. And I will show you this in a second how it works. I have an animation here. Not wanting to poison my family with terrible ingredients is what got me so. Thank you, Carmen. So being conscious about the ingredients and knowing what ingredients that you have in your products is very, very essential. It's really cool. How many of you actually, since you started understanding formulation, since you started soap making, like Carmen, how many of you go to the supermarket, to other places, and you actually look at the ingredient list and you can understand most of the ingredients that are there, and you can say, oh, this is good, oh, this is bad. How many of you actually look at all of the ingredient lists in detail? And I'm not talking about the ingredients that are stated in the front page that are, very, very marketing related. I'm talking about on the back of the product. And while we wait, I will prepare the animation. This is great. Great. Okay, let me read a bit of your comments. I began making candles at first, then moved on to soap naturally, then to oils, and now because of you, face creams in particular. Perfect. I started because I want a clean label. A lot of labels even make. I bought a whole cow, and the butcher gives me a lot of tallow, so I decided to make soap with it. Now I'm loving it. I'm starting learning about the scales. It's interesting. With food too, I read labels. Yes, that's very important. I started because I want to reduce the hormone disruptors, or especially with fragrance oils. Fragrance oils contain hormonal disruptors. You should always buy fragrance oils that do not contain any phthalates or parabens. Phthalates are basically mimicking estrogen, and that's how they are hormonal disruptors. So they're extremely bad for both men and women, but especially women. So you should be very careful with those. I make most things from scratch. Amazing. Baby skincare is full of toxins, let alone for adults, filled with hormone disruptive substances. Yes. I read the labels all the time. Yeah. Amazing, guys. Cool. So I have here an animation that I want to show you on the history of soap making. And basically, you can see here back in the day, they would have, they would use rainwater or just plain water. They would pass it through wood ash. So they would collect the wood ashes and then they would pass the rainwater through them. And they would put basically a filter down here. They would use a filter in order to collect the lye water. And the lye water would be a highly concentrated potassium hydroxide water. And this is not pure. This was not pure lye water. It contained a lot of different things, of course. Uh, so it's not like nowadays where we have pure sodium hydroxide. And then what they did is that they would take a big pot and they would mix this lye water with animal fat, usually tallow. And this is the history of how they made soaps basically back then. So we went from making soaps with wood ash lye that contains potassium hydroxide, and this leads to a soft soap, not a solid soap, like more like a soft paste. And then we moved to 19th century where we started making soaps with sodium hydroxide that leads to hard soap. So potassium hydroxide leads to more softer paste type soap, and if you dilute it with water, it leads to liquid soap. Sodium hydroxide leads to uh, basically hard soap. So this is what I want to show you here. So now let's go back to the presentation. How are you enjoying it so far? Are you ready for more? Comment yes. If you're ready to see, if you're ready to make, for us to make saponification and soap making science easy. Because a lot of people don't start soap making, they don't start making their own skincare because they feel it's very scientific, because they feel there is a lot of chemistry involved. But trust me, I wish I knew this sooner. You don't need a degree in chemistry to make soap. You don't need a degree in chemistry to make your own skincare at home. And I want to make science so easy for you that you feel completely confident to make everything at home. I hear this all the time that people like soap making, but they're afraid of the science and they don't understand the science. So let's go ahead and look now at the saponification. So saponification is basically the foundation of soap making. It's where everything starts. It's what got me hooked in soap making for the first time. And raise your hands if you are completely new in soap making. If you just started, I saw some people before saying that they started like 2 weeks ago. Raise your hand if you're completely new to soap making. Yes, perfect. So I hope this can be very, very easy to understand. 6 weeks ago. Okay. It all starts with an oil. And this is the fascinating part is that you have an oil. What is an oil? Oil is coconut oil, olive oil, castor oil, shea butter. All of these are considered oils. Even if it's called butter, like shea butter, it's still considered oil. By the way, I just dropped some coconut oil here because it's summer and coconut oil melts. And now I dropped it a bit on the wooden desk, but that's good because coconut oil is good both for your skin and for wood, so that's fine. So all of these oils, basically coconut oil, shea butter, cocoa butter, palm oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, castor oil, beef tallow, whatever you're using, they contain triglycerides. Now, what is a triglyceride? A triglyceride looks like that. A triglyceride basically has a glycerin molecule right here. Glycerin is a very, very common ingredient in skincare, and it's called a humectant. I know this word sounds weird, but what it is, glycerin, what it does is that it's a compound that traps moisture into the skin. That's why it's an amazing ingredient for face creams, for hand creams, for foot creams, because it traps moisture and prevents dryness. So glycerin really, really protects the skin. So a triglyceride is a combination of glycerin combined with three fatty acids. So here you have three fatty acids combined with glycerin. And those fatty acids can be anything like oleic acid. For example, olive oil contains oleic acid. Castor oil contains ricinoleic acid. Coconut oil contains lauric acid. Shea butter contains stearic acid. So basically, all of the oils I just showed, they look like that. It's just a glycerin molecule combined with three fatty acids. And here's now you will ask me, Perry, how is it possible that an oil that it's oily and greasy, if I put it on my hands, how can this be cleansed? How can this clean? How can this turn into soap? This is the fascinating thing about soap. So here comes lye, and lye is nothing else than sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide looks like that. What is sodium hydroxide? You have a sodium molecule here, atom, and you have a hydroxyl group here that is shown on the left, OH, the OH group, basically. So this OH group, what it is that it's the reason why soap is lye is so caustic. Have you heard that you should be very careful with lye? If you haven't, I'm just telling you now. Lye is very, very caustic, meaning that it can actually burn your skin. So this hydroxyl group here is the reason why. It's because it's very, very reactive, and this basically what it does is so is that it attacks this bond right there, and once it attacks it, it breaks it. So then what you get is glycerin molecule, and then you get soap. So basically, the soap here will connect with the fatty acids that we discussed, and then the glycerin molecule will be released as a byproduct. And this molecule right here is not oily anymore. It's something completely new. So oleic acid from olive oil is now called sodium oleic. Lauric acid from coconut oil is now called sodium laurate. Stearic acid from shea butter is now called sodium stearate. So now we get these soap molecules that are water soluble plus glycerin. And this is why soap is so unique. Because not only do you get something that is cleansing, the soap molecule here, that is very water soluble, it will remove dirt from your skin and so on, but you also get glycerin. And glycerin is what really protects the skin. So this is the saponification reaction. This is the science behind it. This is all you need to know, that oils plus lye, sodium hydroxide, will give you basically glycerin and soap. Raise your hand if you're following. Do you have any questions so far? Please let me know your questions. I've made a few, about 9 or 10 recipes, which were all near, but not total failures. Most worked out over time, but weren't pretty nice enough to give away to anyone. That's very common for beginners. Um, we can also help you with these total failures. If you tell me what it was, we can answer it right away. So this is basically the saponification reaction. Science made easy. And then, as you see here, Soap Hub basically has a lot of different animations that I've made, not only about the chemistry of saponification, but it shows you why soap actually cleans, what is it that makes soap cleansing, history of soap making, why olive oil soap needs 12 months to cure, what is gel phase, why potassium hydroxide makes liquid soap, and so on. Cool. Now let's continue with the presentation. Let me go back to the presentation. I have made about 7 soaps. The problem is having to wait 6, 8 weeks to try it out. Of course, patience is very rewarding here, my friend. If you don't want to wait, you can always make hot process soap, but the result will be that hot process soap is not. It's not as beautiful as cold process soap. It can be rough design, colors don't look so intense, and the scent you might have some problems with having a long-lasting scent. I prefer having cold process soap, but if you cannot wait, hot process is your choice forward. A cloth and the vinegar. It was the scariest spill I'd ever had. Mm, cloth and the vinegar. Wow. Uh, my next is to make a soap for my oily skin. That's a good one. So if you want to make soap for oily skin, you need something cleansing. You need something that has coconut oil. Coconut oil is what adds cleanse to your lather. And since you have oily skin, then a concentration of 30% or even slightly more if you want can be very beneficial to make soap. My house smells good. Nice. I only made 6 batches so far and they are acting like 3 air fresheners. Yes, tell me about it. I thought a lot of people are allergic to coconut oil. That's a lot of people can react to coconut oil because coconut oil dries out the skin if you add high amounts. But if you have oily skin, then coconut oil could be helpful for you. If you're completely allergic to coconut oil, you can use babasu oil. But babasu oil is way more expensive. The recipe with more coconut oil will add cleansing and help strip the oils from your skin. It's a shame there's no Spanish translation. Hola. Um, yeah, I don't. I used to speak a bit of Spanish. I feel I need more space to produce more soap. Hassle to carry all the stuff around. Any organization advice? I'm considering my little self bringing that around. Yeah, that's true. It's. I'm very happy with having shelves where I store the oils that I want to use. I have a closet full of essential oils. I cannot show you right now because my computer is connected to everything here. But I have basically a closet full of essential oils. But I always put here the ones I'm working with. Uh, so if, for example, I'm working with any of these the next days, I'm just having them here so they come in handy. Cool. So let's continue then with the uh, presentación. I'm very grateful lives. It's very fun to do lives, YouTube lives. Actually, I wish there was a way that we could have you guys on video as well, and we could actually talk, and people could jump, ask questions. There must be a way. I know YouTube does not allow it, not do it through YouTube, but it should be possible. And so far we've talked about we've talked about the biggest pain points in so what people struggle with. We've talked about basically saponification and science made easy for you guys to understand how simple it actually is. Saponification is quite simple. And one point here that um, a lot of people are actually asking me is when I make, for example, coconut oil soap for my dishes, people are asking me, but if you make soap with coconut oil, it will clog the drains because coconut oil is oily and it will clog the pipes. So it's not a good idea to make soap with coconut oil. And I always say, I don't make soap. It's not a soap with coconut oil. It's a soap made with coconut oil, but coconut oil converts to something else. And that something else is soap, and soap is water soluble, so it doesn't clog the pipes. So if you make this soap with 0% superfat and 100% coconut oil or 95% coconut oil, then you have something that is very cleansing and very extremely water soluble, so it does not clog the pipes. So if you make a soap with coconut oil, it doesn't mean that your soap contains coconut oil in at the end product. It contains the saponified version of coconut oil, which is sodium laurate. Okay, before I continue, I'm going to read your comments really fast. Suggest please essential oils. Ooh, essential oils. So when it comes to essential oils, always make sure you're using a base note like patchouli or vetiver or vanilla because those will make your essential oil blend more long lasting in the proper ratio, of course. When it comes to middle notes, which are basically essential oils that are of slightly lower molecular weight than base notes, then make sure you use like oils like lavender essential oil because lavender is a fantastic blender. It blends really well with everything else. And when it comes to top notes, which are the ones you smell first, the most volatile ones, I really like the citrusy ones, and from the citrusy ones, I always recommend Lychea kibeba. Lychea kibeba is a very stable citrusy top note. Citrusy top notes, they tend to evaporate. They tend to oxidize really fast, like sweet orange essential oil, which is very of low molecular weight. What is of low molecular weight evaporates fast. What evaporates fast fades, like the scent fades really fast. So citrusy top notes, the scent fade really fast. And not only that, but every time you open the bottle, oxygen goes in, and when oxygen goes in, it oxidizes them. Substances oxidize because of two reasons: oxygen and light and temperature. That's why all of your essential oil blends are in amber bottles, so that light cannot come in, so that they don't get oxidized. Have you ever wondered why essential oils are not in bottles like that? They're always in amber bottles so that light does not oxidize them and they are preserved longer. And citrus top notes, they oxidize even faster. Can are you able to sell soap without social media? Not really good at social media, but I'm thinking to sell it by my house since I live by the road with traffic. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. You can go out in the street, put a table outside in your garden. Just go to the garden, put a table with some soaps. I've done that. I put some in my garden, soaps, and then I left. I left. I didn't stay there, of course. I just left, put my number so that people could pay. They took the soaps they wanted. My very first soap had a huge oil stick, and I later learned was glycerin. Took over a year to cure and hardly enough. I've also had issues with rapid trace and DOS. Yes, we will talk about DOS and that in a moment. My experience when adding essential oils is that they drastically darken and then trace accelerate. When the oil darkened, did it burn? Thank you. Uh, it darkens. It depends on what essential oil you're using. If you're using vanilla, vanilla tends to discolor and darken everything. Also, fragrance oils that contain vanillin, they tend to really discolor everything and also lead to trace acceleration. We cannot do much about the discoloration. We can add some colorant, other colorant, of course, but for the trace acceleration is completely something we can solve. Something like Zoom or Skype might work. Yes, I can try that. I've made about 4 batches of hot process soap. I guess I like it does not take long, but yeah, not as pretty. Yes, I know, but it's good to make it sometimes. I make shaving soap, the hot process method. Have just made soap from your ebook. I have worked with first time with Micah. I also did your special mix of essential oil. So excited. I'm glad to hear that. What percentage of base notes do I need? My base notes need to take over the scent. That's a good one, Emily. It depends on your essential oil blend overall, on your design, what other essential oils you use. A typical rule of thumb is 20 to 30% base note, and the rest is middle note like lavender, and then 30%, 30, 40% of citrusy top note. But it's not. always trivial. Okay, let's continue. So we talked about the biggest pain points. My soap supplies got a little crazy, not ideal, but I put soaps on the side of my bed, and they are full of soap supplies. Why? What? Wow, that's. I think we all reach a point where we have so many soap supplies that we don't know where to put them. I also have so many. I put them in closets. So I have a closet full of soap supplies. It used to have clothes inside, so I removed the clothes and put soap supplies only. Cool. So we've talked about the biggest pain point points. We've talked about saponification reaction, and I want to talk about my goal with this channel is that I don't want you to only copy recipes without understanding what you're doing, but I want you to basically understand formulation, understand all the ingredients so that you can design your own recipes from scratch. I call it this one, I call it type 1 soap maker. Type 1 soap maker is a soap maker who just copies recipes without understanding anything. Type 2 soap maker is a soap maker who actually see a recipe and they're like, wow, I like this recipe, but you know what? I'm gonna tweak the ratios. I'm gonna increase the concentration of coconut oil. I'm gonna because I want to be more cleansing, or I want to decrease the concentration of coconut oil because I have sensitive skin, and coconut oil can be very dry. Or I'm not gonna add this fragrance oil because I don't like fragrance oils, and I know fragrance oils are synthetic, for example. All of this happens when you understand formulation. But this is exactly what I've been seeing with you guys, and I'm very happy to receive messages like that. So I've been receiving messages like that from people who are part of uh, the Soap Hub community that I have, the private community, and with my video courses and the Soap Hub tool that I showed you, and people like that have started actually uh, adjusting, the recipes to their own needs. So one of the students actually adjusted one of the uh, hand cream and face cream recipe for a food cream, and and that worked really well. And that's exactly the transformation that I'm looking to see with people. And this is what I was talking about before. I received this message from William the other day, and William said, "I just want to share my excitement. I'm still really struggling learning every oils I used to, but I just spent $1,500 for crazy stuff that most of them I'm not even going to use. I'm just enjoying this new hobby. I love it." And this was like exactly what we talked about before. That sometimes people, when they start soap making, they're overwhelmed by the amount of ingredients that are out there. You go into, bra- a soap making supplier website, and you see so many different stuff. You think, I have to buy all of them. I have to buy grapeseed oil. I have to buy jojoba oil. I have to buy rosehip oil, avocado oil, olive oil, and you see people spending $1,500. This is crazy to me because you can make any soap you want with only 4 oils. 4 oils. You don't need anything more. And those 4 oils have amazing qualities. And you don't need to spend $1,500. I read your book. I'm just gonna read your comments. I read your book. I like the one you said, now clean up your mind, clean up your spirit, and what's how I'm glad you like that. Thanks a lot. Your class was great. I enjoyed the online tool also. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to hear you enjoyed the video course. What would you recommend when adding raw honey? Raw honey is great. It does what basically raw honey is sugars. That's what honey is. Chemistry wise, it's a sugar. What sugars do is that they overheat your butter. So when you add honey in your soap butter, it tends to overheat because sugars accelerate saponification, they speed up saponification, and that releases a lot of heat. That's why your soap butter can heat up when you add honey. When you add honey, I would recommend adding 1 tablespoon per pound of oils or per 500 grams of oils if you're in Europe and you work with grams, because you don't need to add more. So just 1 tablespoon is enough. And then when you add honey, just make sure to insulate your soap slightly, because if you insulate too much, you might overheat your soap butter because of honey, and if you overheat your soap butter, it might crack. You will see a crack on your soap. Worst case scenario, if you also work with milks that also tend to overheat soap, your soap will do the soap making volcano. This is a real thing, guys. The soap making volcano is when your soap immediately erupts and starts spilling out of the mold. What would you okay, is bergamot a good essential oil to blend with other oils? Yes. It, bergamot is a top note. It evaporates fast. So you should blend it with lavender and patchouli to make it more long lasting. Otherwise, it would be a problem. Cool. So let me then continue. So I read this comment here, and then and I'm very happy to see things like the Soul Hub tool is a treasure. I'm so grateful. I listen to my intuition and became a member. So I'm very grateful to see those comments. So let's go to the next one. Hello from Brazil, Perry. Thanks for all the content you've posted. It is very helpful to beginners. I'm very grateful to hear. Freeze the milk before adding to the lye. This works best for what I have seen. Absolutely correct. When you work with milks or juices, always freeze them before adding the lye, because that will give you more control. That will eliminate overheating. And this is a very safe way to work with lye. Even when you're working with just normal lye water, you can still freeze it because it's quite safe to do so. But you don't have to do it if you just work with lye water. It's not a must, but it's just something that would help. So let's talk a bit about fatty acid profile. And this is to me one of the things in soap making that makes all. I always say, when in doubt, when people ask me, should I use this oil? Should I use macadamia oil? Should I use beef oil? Should I use shea butter? Should I use this? Should I use that? When you're in doubt, always check the fatty acid profile. Always. Why is that? If you know the fatty acid profile, you can understand how your soap will behave. I can tell you how your soap will behave if you just tell me what oils to use and look at the fatty acid profile, because then I understand what qualities your soap will have. So basically, let's take a look at this. Olive oil. Olive oil is high in oleic acid. Oleic acid, once it reacts with sodium hydroxide or lye, it produces sodium oleate. And sodium oleate is the substance that adds conditioning properties to your skin. It's the substance that leads to a very gentle conditioning soap bar. How many of you here have made soap with a very high concentration or with 100%? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have made soap with 100% olive oil, because these soaps are very unique. They're very unique and they're very famous, like the Marseille soap, the Castille soap, the Aleppo soap, the soap that my uh, family used to, my grandmother used to make soap with 100% olive oil, because it's very, very, very uh, popular and conditioning. And I know some of you uh, have shared in the past that you have your own family members from the past, your own grandmothers, like my grandma, that they used to make soap with 100%. 80%. That's very good. That's very conditioning. Um, Made it with 100% sunflower. Uh, Sunflower oil is a bit difficult because it leads to a softer kind of soap. It's not very my first choice. When people ask me if they should use sunflower oil, I always say, first of all, use if you're using just regular sunflower oil, maximum 10%, because sunflower oil is high linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is very prone to oxidation. I will show this in a moment. And then we have another very popular oil called coconut oil. Coconut oil is high in lauric acid, and when lauric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it produces sodium laurate. This is sodium laurate is what adds bubbles to your soap. So from one side you have olive oil that adds conditioning, from the other side you have coconut oil that adds cleansiness, and the two together can create a soap that is both conditioning and cleansing. I know that because I know oleic acid leads to conditioning soap, and lauric and myristic acid lead to cleansing soap. Let me just read your comments really quick. I want to use the oil we had cooked with. Waste, not want. Okay, so you used old cooking oil. Did it have a smell? Because I've been thinking about it, and old cooking oil is very oxidized. It has a lot of, it's full of phenolic acid and full of dreaded orange spots, dreaded orange spots, and it might also have a scent. So it's not like 50% olive oil is the ratio I have used. With a lower olive oil percentage, I add beef tallow or pork tallow with coconut oil. Okay, so let me just change here. So let me share my screen. We we don't cook meat, so it didn't have any cook. So let's look now at the uh, um, let's look at the oils. So let's look at the first category of oils, conditioning oils. How do I know which conditioning oil to choose? I have olive oil. Olive oil is very unique because it's high in oleic acid and it's low in linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is an acid that is very prone to oxidation. For those of you who are very into chemistry, linoleic acid has this C18 number here. It means that it has two double bonds. The more double bonds, the more unstable oil is. So if it's polyunsaturated, it means that it's basically very unstable. It basically oxidizes and it leads to dread orange spots. I always keep those soaps here. Remember what dreaded orange spots here. Raise your hand if you've actually had dreaded orange spots. Write in the comments below. Write in the comments that you had dreaded orange spots. My problem is I don't know how much color should I add. It depends. Are you working with micas? Are you working with oxides? Are you working with natural colors like turmeric? They all have different amounts. But in general, it's around 1 teaspoon, half a teaspoon to 1 tablespoon, depending on what you're adding per pound of oils. I bought your ebook and took your course. It's amazing. Thank you, Joanne. I'm very grateful to hear that you're part of the community and you're also enjoying so. By the way, If more of you want to join Soap Hub and the course, you can find it in the description of this. Basically, uh, you can find it in the description of this live. You can also check the link here because I going to have a birthday sale, the 24th of June. I'm turning 31 years old, and for that day, it's gonna be 31% off if you join the wait list. So if you sign up on the wait list, you can get it for 30% off, and it has been adding a lot of value. Let's go back to the conditioning oils here. So then we have other oil, high oleic sunflower oil. This is a special type of sunflower oil that contains high concentration of oleic acid and low concentration of linoleic acid. That's what we want in conditioning oils. We want high oleic, low linoleic, because oleic give conditioning properties. Linoleic will also give conditioning properties, but it will also give shredded orange spots that look like that, and that they might smell a bit. How do the oils affect the colorant? Catherine, you couldn't have made a better question, better timing. This is the best timing you could have made because that's exactly what I was going to talk about now. Avocado oil. Avocado oil is also high in oleic acid, low in linoleic, so it's a great oil to use as well. Adds a green tincture, actually. If you mix up with 100% avocado oil, the color will be slightly greenish because avocado oil affects the color. But of course, when people tell me I will mix up with avocado oil instead of olive oil, I always say, yes, it's a great oil, but it's more expensive than olive oil, and it doesn't add any extra properties. But people will tell me, but Perry, it does. It does add extra properties to your soap because avocado oil is high in vitamins, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin K. It's very high in vitamins and very high in antioxidants. That's why it's better than olive oil. And I say, that's correct. It is. But this is in normal skincare like hand cream, lip balms. In soap, all the vitamins and antioxidants they get degraded because as we saw before, soap making happens in high pH environment. It doesn't happen in a normal environment. In soap making, you have high pH, high temperature, and that tends to degrade beautiful compounds like vitamins and antioxidants. So at the end, your avocado oil is viable. And this is like macadamia oil. Macadamia oil is an extremely unique oil. Obviously, if you would use it in a lip balm, if you would use it in a hand cream, it would work well, but it doesn't have any extra properties in soap making compared to olive oil. It's also extremely expensive. It's 4 times, 3 times more expensive compared to where you are. And then, of course, there are the typical oils like grapeseed oil, pumpkin seed oil, canola oil. Those all have one thing in common. As you can see, they're very high in linoleic acid. And when they're high in linoleic acid, they're very prone to oxidation, which means they lead to this here, orange spots. So let me read the comments. 2 part water to 1 part lye. What do you get lye heavy soap? But when you use 50-50, lye water doesn't have heavy soaps. Okay, so uh, so usually you would use around 30-35% lye water, meaning yes, almost 1 part lye, 2 parts water. That's the typical one. That's I would say that's the maximum. I've never made soap with 50 lye and 50 water. That looks like a very like a very concentrated lye solution. You can still, but it has a very high chance of uh, leading to acceleration. The less water you have in your solution means that the faster it will thicken and become soap. The more water you have in your lye solution, it means the longer you have to cure it because the water needs to evaporate. So the fine balance is around 33%, which is 2 parts water, 1 part lye. That's why we use that. I made the herbal soap with comfrey, aloe, sea moss, and clay last week. Wow. I made my own blend. It smelled great. Sea moss, actually, sea moss, I think sea moss has a smell on its own, doesn't it? I've never worked with sea moss, but I think it also smells a bit, right, Joanne? No, not yet. It takes so long to cure. Yeah. Cool. So we talked about which conditioning oils to choose and which not to choose. And a lot of people tell me, but Perry, I live in the Philippines. Uh, which one was it? Let me just remember. Yeah, it was this one. In the Philippines, rice bran oil is extremely cheap. Why can't I use that? And I say, cool, you can use it, but make sure that bear in mind that it has high risk of rancidity, meaning that if you want to use it, at least use olive oil and then use rice bran oil at the concentration of 10% maximum. But I wouldn't substitute olive oil completely with the rice bran oil because it's very high risk of rancidity because it has 15 to 35%. And the reason the range is so big is because the consistency. So some batches of rice bran might come with a 50%, some batches might come with a 35%. So you don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know how consistent your oil is gonna be. Thumbs up if you're following. Thumbs up if you have if you're following everything and you're ready to go to the next one. Okay, so the next one is cleansing oils. Are you guys ready? Ready for the next one? Thumbs up if you're ready. Or if you have any questions, let me know and I will answer them right on the spot. Love this live, guys. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you, Carmen. Cleansing oils. So here we talked a bit about that. We talked a bit about coconut oil being a bit, people being a bit allergic to coconut oil, meaning that it's very cleansing, it can dry out the skin. Um, sorry, where is that? What exactly do you mean ROE with pumpkin seed? Uh, oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Um, it's basically rosemary extract. It can help with dreaded open spots. That's cool. Let's go to the next one. So we have coconut oil, we have babasu oil. Babasu oil is less cleansing than coconut oil because it contains a lower concentration of myristic acid and slightly lower concentration of lauric acid. And then babasu oil, though, is more expensive than coconut oil, so it's difficult to judge. Then we have palm kernel oil. Basically, this comes from the seed of the palm fruit. Palm kernel oil is very, very expensive. So if you go to the store, to the supermarket, and choose any type, basically any type of soap, what you will find out, and you look at the label, you look at the ingredients, it will say two things. First, it will say sodium palmate, which comes from palm oil, and then it will say sodium palm kernelate, which comes from palm kernel oil. So this is basically the saponified version of that. And a lot of soaps are made this way. The most expensive soaps in the world, like the Klaus Porto, the Chanel #5 soap, they have only two oils. You hear that? They have two oils, palm oil and palm kernel oil. Palm oil because it adds conditioning, creaminess, and a long-lasting, stable lather. Palm kernel oil because it adds cleansiness. Perry, what's the best preservative for lotion and cream different from what you use in your course? So there are quite a few out there. The one I use in my video course is actually organic certified. You, that's why I use it. Um, I haven't used other ones. Back in the day, I used to make hand cream without any preservative. By the way, you cannot sell it without preservative. I was making it for myself. But the way I fought basically against any microorganization is that I was placing the hand cream or the face cream in the fridge, and I was using it in small amounts. So I would take basically hand cream, I would make it in small amounts, I would use it in the course of 2, 3 weeks, and I would store it in the fridge. So there was no microbial contamination because it was very small amount. I would use it very quickly. It was stored cold, so that helped. So if you don't want to use any preservatives, it's possible. Then we have category three, which is basically oils that offer creaminess and hardness to your shea butter, cocoa butter, lard, of course, palm oil. Those uh, those are high in oleic acid, stearic acid, and palmitic acid, and stearic and palmitic acid. They are the ones that basically um, creaminess to your soap, and they lead to a very long-lasting soap. So if you want a very long-lasting soap, make sure you use shea butter. Make sure you use beef because those really, really, really help with the soap that is long-lasting. If you make a dish soap with 100% coconut oil, you know it's not as long-lasting as you would expect. It's very hard. Hard is different than long-lasting. People use for soap when they say hard soap, they think that it also means long-lasting soap. It doesn't. The two are not related completely. Coconut oil soap is extremely hard, but it's extremely water soluble as well. So it actually dissolves so easily in water that it's not as long lasting as you would expect in uh, because of its hardness. Can you put that lotion without preservative also to be frozen? Mm, I haven't frozen any skincare actually. I've never tried to freeze a lotion. I've only tried to put it in the fridge. I just use refined shea butter and it's great. Great. I always use refined shea butter because unrefined cuts. And then we have the fourth category, which is lather boost. This is basically oil. It's only one oil, castor oil. It's high in ricinoleic acid. What it does is that it increases lather, adds thickness and richness to your lather. But you don't have to add a lot of it. 5, 6% is enough. If you add more, you might get something that is quite sticky. So I would say if you're using castor oil, always make sure to use it low amounts. Cool. Let's go back now to our presentation. So, how are you guys so far? How is everything? Do you find this helpful? Do you find valuable? Do you find it valuable? Would you like me to answer any other questions? Please go ahead. I'm interested in the course you're offering. I'd like to know if it's available in multiple languages. If it's in Spanish, I will purchase. Unfortunately, it's only in English. I wish there was an AI tool that could make me speak Spanish. That would be amazing. To speak any other language. I think that will happen. there's going to be an AI tool that can make you speak many different languages. But right now, it's only in English. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the feedback. Cool. Let's go to the next. So now I'm sharing my presentation again. So these are the four oils, the four categories. Hi, Mercedes. Hi. There is a tool that should be able to transcribe the video to other languages. I don't know this tool. If if you know it, please put it in the chat. I have made many batches of soaps. Most parts are not as hard as I'd like. What also is hardness? I should use more. Thank you, Michelle. What helps with hardness is actually from category three: shea butter, cocoa butter, palm oil, beef tallow, lard. All of these are category number three, which is creaminess and structure, and they help with hardness. That's why it is possible to make a soap, for example, with 50% shea butter. Shea butter is an ingredient that you can add in higher amounts. It does lead to a very, very hard soap. There are people who make soap 100% cocoa butter. That's the next point I would talk about. Before I do, four oils is all you need. You need something conditioning. Olive oil is conditioning. You need something cleansing. Coconut oil is cleansing. You need something that adds creaminess and structure, like shea butter, and you need something that adds thickness, like custard. So when people tell me I spent $1,500, $1,500 on oils, and it just started a month ago, I say you only need these four, and you can make any soap you want. You want to make soap that's conditioned, make soap with a high concentration of olive oil. You want to make soaps for the disease, you make soap with a high concentration of coconut. You want to make a soap for shaving, you want something very creamy, you make a soap with a very high concentration of shea. So you tweak the ratios, you make a completely new product. That's the beauty of formulation. That's the beauty of soap making. That's the beauty of simplicity. That you don't need 100 different oils that can actually lead to red orange spots. That can actually not add any value to your soap. This is basically what I'm trying to do is save money by understanding formulation and save time. Not only do you save money, but you save time from having failed soap batches, failed uh, soaps that might look like this. Okay, uh, let me just read the comments here. Please share your thoughts on beer soap. I've never made beer soap actually. I've tried it, and the process takes a bit of a while because you have to actually remove the alcohol first. You have to let the alcohol evaporate. You basically let the beer on a tray to evaporate the alcohol, or you heat it up. Um, but I've never made the soap with beer, so I cannot really comment on that. I have made many batches of soap. No, this is before. I do like my lard bars as gross as I think lard is. Yes, I don't have shea butter. I could buy cocoa butter. Yes, Michelle, actually, let me show you. Uh, I speak Spanish and I watch your video 10 times to get what you said and always finding new vocabulary in soap language. So, yeah, thank you. It's also soap making. Soap making might have some terms that you need to learn, like the lie and all of that. Ah, you do have shea butter. That's good. audio is not working properly. Some words are missing. I'm sorry for that, guys. That's I didn't expect that. Yeah, I didn't know that was happening. Does it help now if I speak a bit louder? What do you think of hair infused oil? Yes, it works. You can actually do cold infusion or hot infusion. Basically, you can take olive oil and you can infuse it with lavender, dried lavender. You basically put it in a jar, dry with olive oil, leave it for 3, 4 weeks, and then it's amazing because your olive oil smells of lavender. Or you can do the hot infusion where you basically take your olive and you warm it up in the water bath. You don't want to warm it up completely. So you warm it up in a water bath with dry lavender inside for 3 hours, and that works amazing. Basically, you don't need to wait 4 weeks. You just wait 3 hours in a water bath, warm water bath, and you have an lavender infused olive oil or something else like other herb, rosemary, whatever it is. So this really works fine. So Michelle, this question is for you. Can you see the slide? Michelle, can you see the slide? You can see the slide because this is exactly what I want you. This is exactly for you. Fix my microphone. I'm sorry to hear there is something in the in the sound that some of you have troubles actually. But can you guys can you guys see the slide? Can you guys see the presentation? Just thumbs up if you can. I use the glycerin used in my soap with lavender and some with orange peels. Wow, that's amazing. That's great. Cool. So here's the thing. Shea butter, cocoa butter, beef tallow, they're not all completely the same. They might have similar fatty acid profile. They might have stearic and palmitic acid, but they're not 100% the same because shea butter actually contains unsaponified. These are substances that do not saponify. So if you make soap with a high concentration of shea butter, like 100% shea butter, it might feel a bit sticky because some of the ingredients will not saponify well. But cocoa butter is different. You can make soap for with 100% cocoa butter. And I've heard people saying that it's actually very creamy with a very stable lather because it has a high concentration of formic acid. You can make soap with 100% beef tallow because that has a lower concentration of alpha. So this is basically an answer to your question, Michelle. Beeswax for hardness. Yes, you can use beeswax for hardness, but not a lot because beeswax can be, it's also full of unsaponifiable. So you should use maximum 1 to 2%. Now to the one more slide. Whenever in my video course, in my ebook, I always have soap making and other skincare recipes. They are completely different. Soap making involves the use of lye, meaning where there is lye, where there is sodium hydroxide, there is a chemical reaction. And when there is a chemical reaction, it means there is transformation. You get an oil that transforms to something completely new. But in other skincare, like lip balm, deodorant, hand cream, face cream, and so on, you do not have a chemical reaction. So there you have to treat those completely differently. Here, in other skincare, makes sense to use oils like avocado oil because there the vitamins are preserved. While avocado oil in soap making, all the vitamins are not preserved because we're in a high pH environment and everything gets oxidized. Sunflower oil, high oleic, also butter, coconut, mango butter, it turned out beautiful. That's amazing. Hey Perry, can you rate the soap I made recently? Yes, I can. If you show me the recipe, I can rate it. And one more thing, some of you here are part of the private community and the soap hub. Uh, and June 24th, I turned 31 years old. And because I turned 31, it's been actually 1 year since I started posting consistently. 1 year since I made the decision that I want to post consistently on TikTok, YouTube, create this beautiful community, and post also long format. I've been posting on YouTube long format videos since January. So I would like to have 31% off for my birthday for 48 hours only. So you get basically access to 20 video lessons. You get access to Soap Hub, where you have all the different tools that you can use. And of course, a private community where we post recipes, we ask questions. So, and you can join, you have to sign up to the wait list to take the 31% off. You can find it in the description. So let me just hide this and sharing. Love your channel, been making soap for years, but love to listen to fellow saponifiers and learn new things. Here. Would you make soap with aloe? Yes, one day I want to make soap with aloe vera. Absolutely. Happy early birthday. Thank you, Kathy. Coconut oil, olive oil, rosemary water, lime, citron essential oil. I don't know if it is good. Let's freestyle a bit here. So let's look at the recipe. First of all, it's helpful to also write percentages. Percentages of oil you use and coconut oil. Because if you tell me you use 50% coconut oil, then that's a bit problematic. It can be too cleansing. But if you use 20% coconut oil, that's good. It depends whether you have sensitive skin or not. But coconut oil adds cleanliness, great ingredient if you want bubbles, if you want something very cleansing. Olive oil adds conditioning, amazing ingredient if you want something that adds gentle, soft and conditioning lather. Olive oil is super suitable for sensitive skin types. Olive oil makes amazing face bar. Whether you have sensitive skin or not, you need to have a face bar with high concentration of olive oil. Otherwise, you don't want something too cleansing on your face. It can be very harsh. Rosemary water. This is where I'm a bit skeptical. I'll tell you why I'm a bit skeptical. Because you're adding sodium hydroxide to your rosemary water. So, yeah, lye, sodium hydroxide, might degrade a lot of the ingredients that are in the rosemary. That's why usually we have the essential oils at the very end when you have a soap butter that the saponification has already taken place and you don't have a lot of free sodium hydroxide that can degrade a lot of substances. So it's not bad, it's not terrible idea to have rosemary water, but just note that a lot of the ingredients will get degraded if you have it just like that. Citrus essential oil, yeah, great, works well, but you will have to add a base. You will have patchouli to make it long lasting. Otherwise, citrus just by itself will not last very long. Citrus C essential oils are not very long lasting because they're low molecular weight and they evaporate really fast. Please post the soap hub link. If you're talking about the wait list for the course, the soap hub is part of the video course. and the wait list. I just post the wait list link here to sign up so that your um, you get your discount. Um, what can you use for a creamier lather? For a creamier lather, you can use category number three oils, which is shea butter, cocoa butter, uh, palm oil, beef tallow, lard. Let me just pull this to show you this uh, because it's very helpful for people to have it here. So you can basically see it here. These are the oils that offer creaminess. So you have shea butter, cocoa butter, lard, beef tallow, and palm oil because those have a high concentration of stearic and palmitic acid, and those offer creaminess. So Hub also helps you build the recipe. So there is a recipe builder here, and it will give you recommendations. It will tell you do this, do that, two measures, very high concentration of this, it's a bit problematic, and so on. And it will also help you design a scent blend. It will tell you which scent blend is more long lasting, and so on, and how to make your scent blend long lasting. And my favorite tool about Soap Hub is that it does a cost analysis for you. So you put the ingredients and it tells you how much your soap will cost. And if you're planning to sell it, how much you should sell it. So this is very helpful if you're trying to know exactly how much a soap bar costs, how much your ingredients uh, will cost, which thing is actually the most expensive part of soap. Okay, let me go back to your questions. Michelle, I'm so happy that you found this. I found you this year. Thank you, Michelle. 31st birthday soon. Can't wait to carve the time out to finish the course and help me not mess up more than I already do. I'm very happy to hear this, Michelle. I'm very grateful to hear that the course and the book has helped you a lot transform yourself. And I'm always grateful to see you here in the comments. Thank you. Hi, Perry. Is beeswax using for hardness of soap? Yes. Beeswax, guys, beeswax can help with hardness, but remember, beeswax is full of unsaponifiables. It doesn't turn into soap. It's not made, it's a wax. It's like jojoba. Jojoba is liquid wax. Beeswax and jojoba and other waxes, they don't saponifiy well. So when you combine with sodium hydroxide, they will not convert into soap. If you add too much, you will get something quite sticky and weird. So maximum 2% of beeswax, not more. What is a good base notes for citrus? Actually, amazing, very versatile. If you're working with, um, let's say, citrusy, yeah, bergamot, sweet orange essential oil, Litsea Beba patchouli works well. And with some other top notes like the minty ones, vetiver works really well. If you're working with minty top notes, vetiver is phenomenal. What amazing live this has been. Thank you guys so much. This has been great so far. We have another live in 1 week from now. We're going to talk about troubleshooting. And in that live, we're also going to design recipes. We're also going to make some recipes here. Like we're gonna make recipes together here. We're gonna make hand cream. We're gonna make essential oil blend. And talk a bit about more of that. Um, so this is gonna be amazing. I hope some of you can join the second live as well. It's gonna go deeper into troubleshooting and so on. And I'm very happy to do those lives. It's great to have you all here and interact with me. That will be very helpful if I ever decide to sell. Absolutely. Thank you for your great videos and all the information. I appreciate it. So, with that being said, looking forward for the next live, and I'm gonna close my live uh, with this. Um, so don't forget to sign up to the waitlist to actually. Don't forget to sign up to the waitlist to actually get a discount, and I'm very looking forward to seeing you guys in the next live, and I hope you could find this live very, very helpful. So, thank you all so much. Now, I'm gonna go, and it was raining all day today here in Denmark, but today the weather is better. Right now, the weather is better, so I might go out for a walk, and it's 6:24 in the evening, in the afternoon here. I guess some of you live in the US, so it's morning there, or like around 11. I wish you a great rest of the day. I thank you for taking the time to join this live. I really appreciate that. And I'm very looking forward to seeing you guys in the next live in 1 week. Thank you all for joining, and I'll see you guys. Thank you all. Hope next time your voice is clear. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Violeta. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's been a pleasure. Bye bye. See you guys. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and hope you have a great weekend that's coming ahead. A great, relaxing, and peaceful weekend. Thank you for the content. It's amazing. Keep on it. Bye bye. See you guys. Thank you. Bye bye. See you. Next live is in 1 week random. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye. Ciao. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you for being here. Hope you can join. Thank you so much for taking the time to join today. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.